In a small town nestled between rolling hills and tranquil lakes lived a young boy named Ethan.
Ethan was like many boys his age, curious, energetic, and full of dreams. But unlike many boys, Ethan had a father who was always busy, constantly working to provide for the family. His father, Mr. Thompson, was a dedicated man, known throughout the town for his hard work and integrity. Ethan admired his father greatly but often found himself yearning for more time with him. Mr. Thompson worked long hours at the local factory, and by the time he came home, he was usually exhausted.
Weekends were filled with chores and errands, leaving little room for father-son bonding.
Ethan's mother, seeing the longing in her son's eyes, would often say, "Your father loves you very much. He's working hard for us all."
One summer evening, after yet another day without much interaction with his father, Ethan decided he would change things.
He remembered his grandfather's stories about fishing trips and long walks with his dad.
Inspired, he approached his father and asked, "Dad, can we spend some time together this weekend? Just you and me?" Mr. Thompson looked at his son, seeing the sincerity and hope in his eyes. He realized that while he had been providing for his family's material needs, he had been neglecting something equally important, their emotional needs. With a warm smile, he replied, "Of course, Ethan. How about we go fishing at the lake this Saturday?" Ethan's face lit up with joy. Saturday couldn't come soon enough.
When the day finally arrived, they packed their fishing gear, some sandwiches, and a couple of sodas, and set off early in the morning. The lake was serene, the water gently lapping against the shore. They found a perfect spot under a big oak tree and cast their lines into the water. As they sat side by side, Mr. Thompson began sharing stories from his own childhood, how he and Ethan's grandfather would come to this very lake, the adventures they had, and the lessons he learned. Ethan listened intently, soaking in every word. In between stories, they would laugh, and sometimes just sit in comfortable silence, enjoying each other's company. They spent hours at the lake, not catching many fish, but catching up on each other's lives. Ethan learned about his father's dreams and challenges, while Mr. Thompson discovered his son's aspirations and fears. It was a day filled with connection, understanding, and love. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, they packed up their gear and headed home. On the way back, Ethan looked up at his father and said, "Thanks, Dad. This was the best day ever." Mr. Thompson, feeling a warmth in his heart that he hadn't felt in a long time, replied, "No, Ethan.
Thank you. I needed this as much as you did."
From that day on, they made it a tradition to spend time together, whether it was fishing, hiking, or simply talking. The bond between them grew stronger, and Mr. Thompson made sure to prioritize moments with his family, understanding that time spent with loved ones was as valuable as any work he could do.
A few weeks later, Ethan's school announced a father-son camping trip. Ethan was eager to participate and immediately told his father about it.
Mr. Thompson, despite his busy schedule, agreed to take the weekend off for the trip. The excitement in Ethan's eyes was all the motivation he needed. The day of the trip, they loaded up their camping gear and drove to the campsite, where other fathers and sons were gathering. The air was filled with laughter, the crackling of campfires, and the scent of marshmallows roasting.
Mr. Thompson and Ethan set up their tent together, working as a team.
That night, around the campfire, they shared stories and sang songs with the other family.
Mr. Thompson noticed how much Ethan enjoyed the camaraderie and the sense of belonging.
As they lay in their tent that night, Ethan whispered, "Dad, I'm glad you came.
This means a lot to me."
Mr. Thompson, feeling the profound impact of these moments, responded, "I'm glad too, Ethan.
I promise to make more time for us." The following morning, they went on a nature hike organized by the camp leaders.
Along the trail, Mr. Thompson pointed out different plants and animals, sharing his knowledge with Ethan. They climbed a small hill and stood at the top, looking out over the lush landscape. Ethan felt a deep sense of peace and happiness, knowing his father was there with him.
Back at home, the memories of the camping trip lingered.
Ethan proudly shared stories with his friends and teachers, while Mr. Thompson found himself reflecting on the importance of these shared experiences. He realized that while providing for his family was crucial, being present and engaged was equally important. With this newfound understanding, Mr. Thompson began to shift his priorities. He arranged his work schedule to ensure he had more time for his family. Weekends became sacred, filled with activities that brought them closer. They explored new hiking trails, cooked meals together, and even started a small garden in their backyard.
Ethan thrived under this new routine.
His relationship with his father grew stronger, and he felt more secure and loved. He began to excel in school, his confidence boosted by the unwavering support of his dad. Years passed, and Ethan grew into a young man. The lessons learned from those precious moments with his father shaped him into a compassionate, hardworking, and grounded individual. Mr. Thompson, now retired, looked back on those years with no regrets,
knowing he had given his son the most valuable gift, his time. On a warm summer day, Ethan, now a father himself, took his own son to the lake where he and his dad had spent so many cherished moments. As they cast their lines into the water, Ethan began to share stories of his childhood, passing on the legacy of love and connection. The cycle continued, a testament to the enduring power of spending time with those we love. And so, the tradition of father and son bonding lived on, reminding everyone in that small town that while work and responsibilities are important, nothing is more precious than the time we spend with our loved ones.